So we are a royalty development company is how I would describe us. We have over 260 assets. About 107 of those are royalties. We're going to walk through some of those assets. We have a very strong balance sheet, about $40 million in the bank in cash and securities. And as Garrett mentioned, we haven't diluted our shareholders in a very long time, never done a rollback. Company's been around since 1987. So think about all those things as we walk through this, and here we go. I will make some forward-looking statements, have you read this at your leisure. So what are we? We are an explorer at heart, but we are a royalty developer in the end. So we generate projects, we create projects for options, and we explore them before we option them, and we create royalties in the end because we sell the projects or option them to others. We have a very experienced board management team, professionals, geologists, finance professionals. We are focused on acquisitions. So in mining camps that are established along prolific structures, 40 of the properties we have are past producers, and over 60 of the properties are either historic or 43-101 resources. So very established properties. We're not doing a lot of grassroots exploration. And a number of our projects are at the PEA or higher studies, and I'll talk about a couple of those in a few minutes. We are in Tier 1 jurisdictions, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Arizona, Nevada. I mentioned the balance sheet, very strong, capital structure is very tight, no warrants, and a very low share count. We have a company that is transaction focused. We're here to earn income, and we'll talk through that. We want to make money. We're in a business here, not just having fun. So as I mentioned, 56 million shares outstanding, and this company's been around since '87, no rollbacks ever. 13% of the company is owned by Jack Stock. The history of that dilution has created a lack of dilution, and the income we have has created a very strong balance sheet. You can see that in the pie chart in the lower left-hand corner. Big chunk of that is in senior precious metal equities. That's like Agnico Eagle, Pan American, Alamos Gold, so very solid companies. Another chunk of the company is in smaller companies. And then we have a large part of our portfolio in cash and fixed income securities. So very solid portfolio, not a lot of risk in it. We're listed on the TSX, the OTCQX, and of course the Frankfurt Exchange and a number of other German exchanges. There's the management team, Jack, the founder of the company, lots of experience. Myself, been in the mining and exploration business for about 39 years. I was one of the founding companies of what it was, Cisco Mining, that was taken out by Goldfields recently. I was also the founder of a company called Orford Mining, which was taken out by Alamos in 2024, and was an analyst and geologist for Agnico Eagle before that. And we have a number of other people, ex-Centerra CEO, ex-Case Depot portfolio manager, ex-financiers with Noranda, and ex-portfolio manager with Soros Fund. So a really good, solid board. So as I mentioned, our process, acquire properties. So we look for properties, we try to acquire them cheaply and inexpensive. We improve those properties through exploration and putting our own thought into the projects. Then we try to make revenue from those projects by selling them, optioning them, and eventually earning royalties. We believe that kind of income decreases the dilution to shareholders, but increases our revenues, increases our profitability, but also that exploration that all those partners do increases the value of those projects for us and for shareholders. Just a quick look at where our properties are. So the upper left-hand corner, you see a map of North America. So like I mentioned, Nevada, Arizona, a lot of properties in Quebec and Ontario, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. The inset map is probably the most important one because that's the Abitibi, one of the most prolific mineral belts in the world, and most of our properties are there. And you can see some prolific structures there that they sit along, and we'll talk about those in a minute. We have a property royalty in Germany as well, and one of the big silver belts there. So this is what I mentioned on prolific mineral belts. And you can see this belt here. This is the Cadillac break that runs through Quebec, the Ontario borders here. And you can see all the properties we have along that. We have really good coverage along this break, and a lot of these projects have mineral resources on them already. The blue ones are royalties, the red ones are 100% owned, and we continue to work those. So the past 20 years, we've increased our property portfolio, or asset portfolio, from around 50 to around 270 today. So we continue to add properties on a weekly basis. We're staking all the time, We continually watch the open ground and acquire properties where we see fit to increase the portfolio of the company, increase our value. Commodity mix, we are commodity agnostic. However, we specialize in gold properties, about half of, gold and precious mineral properties, about half of both our royalty mix and our property mix is in gold and precious minerals. Another quarter is in base metals, that's copper, lead, zinc, nickel, and then another quarter is in both specialty minerals and specialty metals. So that's everything from critical minerals to battery minerals to rare earths to silica to dolomite, a wide mixture of properties. And I think this is one of the unique things about this company that makes us a one-of-a-kind type company, is that we're very commodity agnostic. We don't just go after gold projects, we go after things where we think we can make money. And that's the difference between us and a lot of companies, and especially a lot of royalty companies, because most royalty companies will sort of specialize. Either they're copper royalty companies, or they're battery metals royalty companies, or they're gold royalty companies. We will look at almost everything. Another important thing to realize is the stages of all our properties, both royalties and properties. So on the right-hand side, you see our properties by stage, and there's definitely more in the sort of earlier stages in the property side. But on the royalty side, you can see that we have more properties that are in the, there's historic resources, or there's new 43-101 resources, or they're in the pre-production stage, like doing feasibility studies and PEAs and those kind of level studies. So that's very important for us on the royalty side, because that means they're getting closer to production, and that means we're going to make more money from them. Some of our partners, from Agnico Eagle to Toma Gold to Radisson to Albright Metals, so lots of partners, very good partners, all very active. So I'm going to go through sort of three sections of our company. I told you about the balance sheet and how strong that is, $40 million sitting there. Then we have the properties we own 100% of. These are ones we're doing work on. These are the ones where we're active on and we're spending money ourselves. Then I'm going to go through some of our royalties and the vast amount of money that's being spent on those. We've got drilling that's incredible going on, and that's just adding value to our properties. And then I'm going to go through a few of the option agreements we have. We have 8 active option agreements, so I'll go through a few of those to give you the idea of what our partners are doing on those. So first of all, on the 100% owned ones, Cadillac Wood is one of our projects, 100% owned by Globex. Last year, we put a new 43-101 resource out. There was 108,000 ounces, in the indicated category, and 8,600 ounces in the inferred category. That's the Ironwood deposit. That same property has 2 other producing projects called Cadillac and Wood, and there's 241,000 ounces of historic resource there. We are currently reviewing both that and the Ironwood to see where we're going to go with that. Are we going to try to put Ironwood into production, or are we going to look at the whole property to see if there's something bigger we can put into production? Lyndhurst, we're currently actually in the middle of drilling a hole there right now. We're looking for a big massive sulfide there. We think the potential is for copper mineralization like the historic production at Lyndhurst, at 1.93% copper. Rouen Merger, we just drilled 6 holes there. We hit some really good intersections, like 3.44 grams per ton over 39.7 meters. Pretty spectacular widths. The thing about this project is the historic drilling that had been done there, they didn't sample all the core. We've been sampling all the core, so we're getting much wider intercepts, and I think that's the beauty of what we're finding there. Just go through this quickly here. You can see this is Ironwood. I mentioned that's where the 108,000 ounces is. This is the main trend on this project right here. And just to the west of us over here is Radisson drilling their O'Brien project. And they're drilling this stratigraphy right here. This is where the old Cadillac Wood was. So we're looking at that, modeling it to see if there's areas there to drill where we could find the same type of mineralization as they had at Cadillac and Wood, and also the same kind of mineralization as they had at O'Brien. This is the Rouen Merger drilling. You can see the 2 holes we drilled here. This is the one section with holes 1 and 2. The assays we put out, lots of good numbers that came from those 6 holes. And then some of the historic mineralization. You can see how the intersects were much thinner, not the 30 meters of intercepts like we hit in our holes, because they didn't sample all the core. This is Lyndhurst. This is where we're drilling, trying to find a massive sulfide deposit. We think this is the kind of potential that we'd see for a Kidd Creek type deposit. It's very grassroots, but we have a really good geophysical target there, and we're drilling it right now, so we should know soon. So moving on to our royalties. As I mentioned, we have 107 royalties. So this is only 4 royalties here. So on the O'Brien project that Radisson is drilling, we actually have 2 royalties on that project, one on the east side and one on the west side. Kewagama is on the east side of it, 2% NSR there. New Alger, a 1% NSR. They're drilling 140,000 meters on that project right now with 8 drills. That's just data that comes into us and increases the value of our royalties. So this is huge. When they put out their PEA last year, 22% of the ounces reported to the Kwagama 2% royalty. Mount Sorcier is a world-class iron ore deposit in Chibougamau region. Feasibility study out Q2 2026. This will be huge for value. Nordo West and East. This is a 3% GMR Cadillac, the Cadillac project that Cartier has. They are drilling that like crazy right now. They've been hitting some really good numbers on what they call the North Contact Zone. That's all on our property. One other one that I didn't mention is the Bell Mountain, Nevada Lincoln gold mining. They're going to put this into production by the end of this year, beginning of next year. It's a silver gold deposit. It's fairly small, but it'll be significant revenue to us when it goes into production. So as I mentioned, this is the Kwagama. That's the boundary between Kwagama and O'Brien where we don't have a royalty. You can see some of the hits they're getting here, some pretty spectacular grades. We're excited to see these guys continue with the 8 drills as they continue to drill that property. This is the Mount Sorcier deposit. You can see the very near surface mineralization, really good numbers here, $1.6 billion value to the project at 8% in the PEA. They're doing a feasibility study that's going to give us a great idea on what the value of this thing is. We figure this is a $5 to $7 million per year royalty for us. And this is Nordo West where Cartier Resources is drilling. They already have the Chimo and West Nordo deposits. This is new stuff here where they're drilling the contact zone. This is all on our project. We're excited to see what they find here as they continue to drill more holes. 100,000 meters being drilled there. So if you look at this, plus our option properties, plus what we're drilling, there's over 300,000 meters of drilling happening on our claims right now. So this is huge value accretion for us. And lastly but not least, some of our options. So Duquesne West, Emperor Metals is drilling. They talked earlier today. This year, or last year actually, they doubled the resource there to 1.46 million ounces at a grade of 1.69 grams per ton gold. They are drilling 10 to 15,000 meters right now to expand the open pit size, to infill mineralization, to upgrade the resource, and I'll talk about that in a second. Devil's Pike is an antimony project, gold antimony project actually, in New Brunswick. They already have a gold deposit there. They're trying to upgrade that to Jortco. They're an Australian company, but they're also drilling the Val Road antimony showing there, which is quite spectacular. And then we have the Bald Hill project, antimony project that Antimony Resources is drilling. They have very massive stibnite, which is the antimony mineral. They're drilling a 6,000 to 10,000 meter program there, and they have targets on how much antimony they want to have. So just on the Emperor, you can see all this area here that's had very little drilling, and the infill they're doing in the main pit to upgrade the entire resource to get up towards 5 million ounces. This is their goal, and I think they have a very good chance of doing that, but we'll see what happens as they continue to drill. This is Devil's Pike, where Albright is drilling. Their gold deposit sits in here. They have antimony here at Bond Road, which they're drilling right now. But you can see some of the surface samples they got here. 27.6% antimony. These are spectacular grades. 57% antimony. So they're drilling those right now. We're looking forward to seeing those results as they continue to move forward on this. This is Antimony Resources. You can see here they have a target of getting 2.7 million tons at 3.3 to 4% antimony. So that's for 81,000 tons of antimony. So we're looking forward to seeing what they get out of that. That'd be spectacular if they can get to those numbers. So catalyst for this company. We just had a catalyst very recently. Brunswick put their maiden resource out on the Mirage project, 52 million tons of 1.08% lithium. That was spectacular. Cerrado Gold, I mentioned, they're going to put a feasibility study out on the Mount Sorcier iron ore deposit. Lincoln Mining is going to start producing by the end of the year, beginning of next. Then we have drilling on the Radisson, the Cartier, the Toma Gold. Catalyst for our own projects, I mentioned the Rouen merger. We're going to do some IP and more drilling on that project. Lyndhurst, we're drilling right now. Corville IP survey being done, so we'll get some geophysical results from that. Sometime early this year, we're going to put out a plan for our Cadillac Wood project, so you'll see that soon. Then on our option projects, I just went through those, but Antimony Resources, maiden resource in the early part of this year. Emperor drilling on Duquesne West, Toma Gold on Lac Willem, Electro Metals is drilling, Albright Metals is drilling, Lodestar Metals on our Virgin Mountain Rare Earth project. This is a fabulous project in the States, and we're excited to see them get busy there. So lots going on. I think you can see the value in this company. Tight capital structure, experienced management team, income from royalties and options. Our balance sheet continues to improve. We announced just earlier this week that we got some payments on some royalties, and our total balance on our balance sheet is now over $40 million in cash and securities, and it continues to grow. We have no debt, very strong balance sheet, well positioned on major local gold localizing structures. We can execute exploration programs very quickly and easily. We have a fully functioning staff and exploration office, and we have no need to raise any capital to do it. And of course, we're in very good places in the world, and that's it. Thank you, Gordon.